Hello everyone and welcome to Battle Report number 2 for the channel. This was played on Saturday across at my local game store, which is quite handy as it's about 100 yards from my front door. So it doesn't take me long to get across there and to spend an inordinate amount of time sitting in there talking, just doing nothing. But one of the guys from the club was looking for a game. I was wanting to get another battle report in, so Liam came down and met me at the game store. We were playing 2600 points as we were discussing perhaps going to the Falkirk free-for-all tournament in February. So 2600 points being the allocation for that, we decided to play 2600 points, made our army lists up the night before, and if you keep watching you'll see how that goes. Now here are the army lists. So for the Dark Elves, have my General and Dreadlord. He is riding a Dark Pegasus. He has heavy armour, the Sea Dragon Cloak, Shield, Cloak of Twilight, an Ogre Blade, and a Luckstone. For magic, I have my Supreme Sorceress, who's level 4, using the Lore of Shadow, Dark Steed, Talisman of Preservation, Dispel Scroll, and a Potion of Toughness. I also have a Death Hag with the Sword of Anti-Heroes and the Witch Brew. My Master BSB, who's got Light Armour, Sea Dragon Cloak, Cold One Mount, Charmed Shield, Potion of Strength, and the Dawnstone. For my core, I have 3 units of 5 Dark Riders with shields, so plenty of chaff and fast movement there. And a unit of 30 Witch Elves, full command, and Banner of Swiftness. For my special, I have a unit of 10 Cold One Knights with full command. I have 3 Repeater Bolt Throwers, and my War Hydra with Fiery Breath upgrade. And my rare, I have 2 units of 5 Doomfire Warlocks. So I didn't go net list or anything, but my opponent, well, he's playing High Elves, so guess what he brought? Here's his list. It's, for his lord, he has a Prince, who has an Elven Steed, Ithlamar Barding, Heavy Armour, Shield, Dragon Helm, Giant Blade, Dawnstone, and the Iron Curse icon. He has a level 4 Archmage, Lore of Life, Elven Steed, Crown of Command, Golden Crown of Altrazar, and the Book of Hoth. Now there is a theme to all these characters, if you check what they're riding. Heroes, he has a Noble BSB, who's an Elven Steed, Ithlamar Barding, Shield, Dragon Armour, Lance, and yes, the Banner of the World Dragon. A Noble on an Elven Steed with Ithlamar Barding, Dragon Armour, a Great Weapon, Enchanted Shield, Luckstone, and Kane's Ring of Fury. For his core, if you hadn't already guessed it, he has a Bus of Silver Helms with full command. He has 2 units of 5 Illyrian Reavers with full command and bows. For his special, he's a unit of 20 White Lions with full command and Banner of Swiftness. He also has a Lion Chariot. For his rare choices, he has 2 Repeater Bolt Throwers, a Frostheart Phoenix, and a Flamespire Phoenix. As you can see, he has the usual Silverhelm bus, which is fast, hard, heavily armoured, and impossible to wound with magic. So we'll be seeing how well that goes against that. Flamespire Phoenix was pretty cool. Not seen one of those played very often, rather than the double Frostheart, but we'll see how that goes. Now on to deployment. So on my opponent's left flank, as you can see on the right hand side there, is his 16 Silver Helms with Prince, 2 Nobles, and Archmage sitting in there hiding away from harm. Beside that, you can see he has a unit of 5 Illyrian Reavers. In his centre, he has his Lion Chariot, a Flamespire Phoenix, his Frostheart Phoenix, a unit of 20 White Lions. It is the Phoenix Guard models, but he's using them as White Lions. He then has a Repeater Bolt Thrower, and out on the other side he has another unit of 5 Illyrian Reavers and another Bolt Thrower. So basically all his powers on his left flank, and I deployed to try and, but that was the last thing down. So I deployed obviously to try and counter that. Over the left hand side in my flank, I have a unit of 5 Dark Riders, a unit of 5 Doomfire Warlocks, and a repeating Bolt Thrower. I then have my unit of 30 Witch Elves with my Death Hag in there. On the centre flank, yeah, just the centre, I have another unit of 5 Doomfire Warlocks with my level 4 Sorceress. I have my War Hydra, my Dreadlord on Dark Pegasus, another unit of 5 Dark Riders, a unit of 10 Cold One Knights, and on this side I have a unit of 5 Dark Riders and 2 Repeater Bolt Throwers. So after Vanguards, sorry, that's table before Vanguards. So spells, we have all my spells there. I have 4 from Lore of Shadow, and the Doombolt and Soulblight for my Doomfire Warlocks. I forgot to get a picture of my opponent's spells, but it was Lore of Life. He didn't have Flesh to Stone, which made things much easier for me at certain times, as I hate that spell. Toughness 7 Elves just don't go down well. As you can see here, after Vanguards, I've got everything rushing forward. Dark Riders on the left, my Doomfire Warlocks through the centre, my other unit of Doomfire Warlocks. On this side, my unit of Dark Riders go up cautiously on the left, and the Dark Riders on the right go straight up and reform slightly. It's then turn 1, I win the roll to go first, and I run straight forward. So Dark Riders pushing up towards his Illyrian Reavers. My Doomfire Warlocks coming around to threaten the flank of the Phoenix and his Bolt Throwers. Gives me a few options next turn. On this side, my Dark Riders push through just to come out of the line of sight of his Silverhelm bus, as the last thing I want is getting charged off of them, and I didn't have another unit close enough that I could pull off the double flee. As you can see, my Dreadlord has moved forward as well. He's sitting right in front of the Aurelian Reavers there. And the rest of my army just sort of shuffles around, the Cold One Knights turning to face the avenue where the Silverhelms are possibly going to run down. And my Sorceress's unit with the Doomfire Warlocks just sort of shuffle back, keeping spell range with Melkoths, so you can hit anything with that, and support some units on my side. Of course, it's the magic phase. So, first magic phase was 5 dice on 4, so not too much was going to get off at this point. I first cast Melkoth's Mystifying Miasma onto his Silverhelm bus, which he tries to dispel, I think, and it goes through, reducing their movement by 1. Not by much, but for Elven Steeds it's pretty slow. Then tried to cast Doombolt on his Frostheart Phoenix from the unit Doomfire Warlocks, who were pushing up the left flank through to the centre. But that gets easily dispelled. Now, onto the shooting phase. I always complain that I have Bolt Throwers who are very useless. They do absolutely nothing. Very rarely do they actually hit anything. So much so that I've considered taking them out of lists entirely. But with always having that option of, if they do work, then they can be quite devastating. But in this game, these 2 Bolt Throwers here managed to actually do something. We peel off 5 of the Silverhelms, which helps make the bus a little more manageable. But there's still lots of characters in there. But very, very pleased with the Bolt Thrower crew there. So the crew of that one may last more than one battle. Over here, this one decides to stay true to form. Takes a shot at the Frostheart Phoenix and misses everything. I can't have it always. The other 2 at least firing good. 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Over on this side, my Dark Riders take a shot at the Illyrian Reavers and just take one off. And that's how the table looks at the start of the bottom of turn 1. As you can see there, my Dreadlord sitting in front of his Elven Reavers cannot be charged by the Chariot or the Flamespire Phoenix. So that was handy. Over here, he's checking charge arcs, but my Doomfire Warlocks are just misses out on being able to charge them in the flank from where I've positioned them. Over here, he moves his Silver Helm bus up cautiously. I think he's sitting at 19 inches away from my Cold One Knights, giving them a double 6 to make the charge. Over on this side, his Reavers do what fast cav do and just pull some shenanigans, run through so that I can't charge them next turn. They take a couple of pot shots later on, but I don't think they actually do much. Over here, a Flamespire Phoenix comes round and the Chariot pivots. You can see my Dark Riders there. They're not able to do much next turn, but causing him a few problems on his flank. He's staying worried about them. Over here, Frostheart Phoenix comes across to help protect the Bolt Thrower there and threaten both my units of Dark Riders and Doomfire Warlocks. The White Lions go into the building. On his magic phase, he rolls 11. He then proceeds to channel. I channel 1 as well, so it's 12 on 7. He gets up Throne of Vines, which I fail to dispel. He then tries to cast Regrowth, which I do dispel. He then casts Soul Quench from Kane's Ring on his Noble onto my Cold One Knights, killing off 2 of them. Over here, both throwers open up at my Doomfire Warlocks. Both of them fire and manage to kill 1, which wasn't too bad, I suppose. Ward saves were going well. At the top of turn 2, we have a few things there. First off, my Dreadlord charges the Aurelian Reavers. They flee, and I redirect into the Chariot. Over here, my Doomfire Warlocks charge the Bolt Thrower that had the audacity to actually kill 1 of them. I continue the fast cav fight with the Illyrian Reavers. I'm going to stop saying Illyrian, I'm just going to say Reavers from now on because I get tongue-tied a bit when I'm saying that. But Dark Riders coming up there, just threatening off the Reavers. The Witch Elves, which, believe it or not, I actually forgot to move in turn 1, but didn't tell my opponent this as I wanted to think it was actually a strategy. So they march up 12 inches, covering a fair amount of space on the board with the Banner of Swiftness, but probably thinking I won't be charging Reavers next turn as I'll take them out of the battle completely if I do that. On this side, we've got a bit more shuffling. My Hydra moves forward into the woods. The Doomfire Warlocks come across, preparing for any charges or movement from the Silverhelm bus. And my other unit of Dark Riders are just sitting around there, making sure nothing much is happening. On this side, Dark Riders get out of the line of sight of the Flamespire Phoenix. Ready, just threatening its flank. We've got the flank of the Illyrian Reavers there, if they somehow manage to survive. On the magic phase, I return the favour, roll 11. I channel 1, and he doesn't. So we do get another 12 dice magic phase. First off, cast Melkos Mystifying Miasma on the unit's movement again. So movement 7 now. I tried to cast the Withering on the same unit. I do fail, however. I then tried to cast Soul Blight and I failed to get it off as well. And that was the end of the magic phase. Bolt Throwers take aim again at the Silver Helms. Kill off another 3. Dark Riders kill off another one of the Reavers over on this side. Doomfire Warlocks make quick work of the Bolt Thrower in the combat phase. They just reform to face the other Bolt Thrower. May as well take that out. Over here, my General Cloak of Twilight charging into the chariot. It didn't really stand a chance. So we kill the chariot and we overrun, catching the Illyrian Reavers and taking out 2 units for the price of 1. That was it for my turn 2. So on to the bottom of 2, and this is how the board's looking. Now, unfortunately here, I actually forgot there was a unit of white lines sitting in the building. And they pop out, charge my general in the rear. So we'll see how that goes. Now, this thing I was a little bit annoyed about. One of my best friends was sitting there watching the game with us. My opponent was dithering on where to move his Flamespire Phoenix. And he's trying to get out of my charge arc or worry about my Dark Riders. And one of my so-called best friends pops in and goes, "Why don't you just fly over them?" And my opponent, who says, "Oh yeah, forgot Flamespires could do that," decides to fly him over my Dark Riders, doing the D6 strength 4 hits that they get to do for flying over, one of their special attacks, which kills 2 of them. I didn't mind, it was only a friendly game, but I'll be watching what I'm doing around my so-called friends from now on. Over here, his Frostheart Phoenix moves across to prevent my Doomfire Warlocks charging his Bolt Thrower. And I'm pretty okay with that. The longer a Frostheart Phoenix is not in combat with me, I'm actually quite happy with that. Here you can see where the 2 wounds were done. I also failed, sorry, 3 wounds it was, and I also failed my panic test. So they run away from the big nasty Phoenix that flew over them. And on this side, his Reavers come around to just annoy my Doomfire Warlocks. Not so good magic phase this time. It's 5 on 3, no one channels. He does get off Dwellers. And I was okay with this at first. He cast on my BSB passed the strength test. My unit champion failed, and there were 7 other Cold One Knights in the unit. So I picked up 7 dice, thinking, fail a third of these, don't mind losing 2. I proceeded to roll 5 ups out of 7. So I lost most of the unit, basically ending the effectiveness of my Cold One Knight unit. That sucked quite much, to be honest. Over here, Bolt Thrower takes out 2 of my Dark Riders on this side. Into combat, yes, the white lines in the back of my general went about as well as I expected. They managed to kill him. And then it's on to my turn 3. So over here you can see how things were looking. Still a Silver Helm bus sitting out on the right flank there. And I'm quite rightly terrified of that, because if that charges anything, especially my BSB or anything, they're dead. Don't want my Doomfire Warlocks, my Sorceress getting charged. I've already lost my General. But I've did some damage to it with the Bolt Thrower so far. So we're not doing too badly at the moment. Over here you can see my Hydra moves up. The Dark Riders move up as well. The Sorceress and her Doomfire Warlocks move up just to get any chance of being charged next turn from the Silver Helms. Over here, my Dark Riders move up as well. Doomfire Warlocks don't do too much, and the Witch Elves come around this forest. Everything's sort of converging on the white lines here. In the magic phase, we end up with 4 dice rolled. I channel 1, so it's 5 on 3. Try to cast Melkoth's Mystifying Miasma. I get it off. I decide to lower their initiative by 2 and decide to say, fuck the Banner of the World Dragon, excuse my language. Pit of Shades is then tried to be cast, but I don't roll high enough and it gets dispelled. So the minus initiative on the Silver Helms means absolutely nothing. Over here, I'm not 100% sure what's happened with my Dark Riders. I think perhaps they were charged by something or shot and failed a panic test. Can't remember. Over here, the Flamespire Phoenix just moves up towards the centre of the battle, threatening the Dark Riders and things in the centre there. The Silver Helms you can see are just his dead, but he has been using regrowth on and off, so he's not managed to get any back, but they are sitting there in case he does get any back. Over here, the Frostheart Phoenix flies across behind the building, obviously converging on the centre. White lines go into the building again. Over here, he brings his Silver Helm Bush round, looking directly at my BSB and the last Cold One Night, or last 2 Cold One Nights, sorry. But my bolt throwers are looking at that and thinking that's going to be a nice flank shot. Pierce the ranks, no armour saves, just ward saves to deal with, but we'll see how that goes. On the magic phase, another low dice roll, so we end up with 3 dice. I channel 1, so it's 3 dice on 3. He gets off Soul Quench on the Cold One Nights, kills off another one. He then tries to get off Regrowth, which he fails. And here, this is actually, sorry, I forgot to mention, he charged one of his nobles out of that Silver Helm unit into my bolt thrower, who understandably didn't want to stick around. They died, and he just reforms to face my other bolt thrower. This is how the table looks at the top of turn 4. So you can see there few charges that could be done. I don't want to be stuck with 2 Phoenixes and the Silver Helms all getting into combat at the one time, so I'm going to try and pick my fights. I remember that there's white lines in the building this time. So over here, Doomfire Warlocks with my Sorceress just fly round, stay out of the way of those Silver Helms. My BSB and his one surviving Cold One Night pop up, stay out of the way as well. My Dark Riders come round just to try and redirect the Silver Helm Busker. Up here, my Witch Elves charge the building, needing a 7. They actually fail the charge, and that was really annoying. Banner Swiftness needed an average roll to get in there. My Witch Elves would have tore the white lines to shreds with 4 attacks each. Always strikes first against the white lines, so the 20 white lines in there wouldn't have lasted long at all. Unfortunately, failing the charge, and the Witch Elves have sat there and done nothing most of this game. The Doomfire Warlocks had charged the unit of Reavers that were sitting there. The 3 of them fled. They actually ran through the Witch Elves. They failed 2 dangerous terrain tests, so there's one of those guys left. He's running for his life. Over on this side, my Dark Riders failed to rally and almost run off the board. In the magic phase, it's 10 dice. He channels 1 and it's against his 6. I try to get off the Withering on his Silver Helm Bush, which gets dispelled. I do Melkos Mystifying Miasma, which gets dispelled. I cast Doombolt on the building, which I failed to cast. So for a decent magic phase, I managed to cast absolutely nothing. Over on this side, the noble who had the audacity to charge out and kill one of my bolt throwers had his friend turn around and pump him full of large metal bolts, so he dies. Over here, it's the bottom of turn 4. So the white lines charge out the building again towards my Hydra, who stupidly, perhaps, in hindsight, very stupidly, decides to flee. Gets caught, as I forgot the banner of swiftness as well. So the white lines tear down my Hydra, poor Fluffy. The Silver Helms decide to charge the Dark Riders. I do elect to hold so that they're out of position a little bit more. Doesn't work very well. We'll see how that goes. The Flamespire Phoenix tried to charge my BSB and Cold One. He failed. The Frostheart Phoenix tried the same and he also failed. On to Magic, and 9 dice, I channel 1, so it's 9 dice on 6. He cast Dwellers Below. Now this is actually his dice roll. He rolled 6 dice into it, didn't Irresistible Force, got it off on 34. So I have my 6 dice to try and stop it, which I fail, and he kills more than half the unit of Witch Elves. Don't you just love Dwellers Below? So, anyway, after that atrocity, my Dark Riders decide to rally. Actually, forget that about the Dark Riders. I lose one against the Bolt Thrower is what I meant to say. Over here in combat, the Dark Riders do absolutely nothing and get killed to a man. He overruns, but he only overruns 3 inches, so that's where he ends up. On this side, we made a slight mistake here, in that Liam placed his 1 remaining Reaver into this building, which we realised in hindsight, you can't put a mounted character or a mounted model into a building. However, it makes very little difference. My 2 Dark Riders on that side charge in and kill him, lose 1, but I then reform. My Doomfire Warlocks move across just out of the charge arc of the the Frostheart Phoenix there. The Witch Elves just reform to try and do something down here. Doomfire Warlocks move up, maybe try and fire off a Doombolt at something. In the magic phase, it is 5 dice on 4, and I don't believe I get anything at all. Yeah, get absolutely nothing off. So over here, in his turn 5, he charges my Doomfire Warlocks with my Sorceress with his white lines. They elect to flee. They flee 10 inches, meaning they are sitting on the board edge and the white lines need an 11 to catch them, which he gets. So running down my Doomfire Warlocks and my level 4 Sorceress, things have just went really, really pear-shaped for me at this point. The Bolt Throwers take aim at the rallied Dark Riders and kill off the last 2. Over here, both Phoenixes charge into my BSB and my Cold One Rider, and they flub spectacularly. My BSB puts a wound on the Frostheart Phoenix. The Flamespire Phoenix and everything else do absolutely nothing to each other. He loses by 1. The Flamespire Phoenix sticks around and the Frostheart Phoenix flees. That went way better than I expected it to. On This side, I charge the Flamespire Phoenix with my one remaining Dart Rider. Fail to catch him, so he flees over this way, bounces through the combat. In the shooting phase, the White Lions take 2 more wounds, and that's the end of my turn. Turn 6, they charge. Sorry, his turn 5, they charge my Bolt Thrower. Silverhelm Bus doesn't want to charge my Witch Elves, so he just moves them around there, leaving about needing an 11-inch charge from the Witch Elves to get in there. That's the end of the story at the end of 5. Yes, the Bolt Thrower dies as expected. The fight between the Cold One Knight and the BSB and the Flamespire Phoenix ends in a stalemate. And that's basically it. On turn 6, my Witch Elves failed the charge against the Silverhelms, and that was basically all I could do. My Doomfire Warlocks failed to cast anything, and his turn 6, he moves his Silverhelm Bus up just to laugh in the face of my Witch Elves, and the game ends with a victory to the High Elves. So that was that was the first time I've ever properly faced the Silverhelm Bus with the Banner of the World Dragon, which is strange considering one of my best friends plays High Elves, but he has never played this particular a list particularly like this. But yeah, I can see why people complain that it's extremely powerful. The Banner of the World Dragon prevents any of my characters from going in with magic weapons, meaning I basically have to concentrate all my shooting on them, or try and get off one of the spells that allow no saves of any kind, which I did try with Pit of Shades, but just didn't manage to get it off. So as I says, we were practicing the points allocation for the Falkirk free-for-all tournament in February. I've not decided if I'm going to take the Dark Elves or the Skaven. I says I'm painting up the Skaven at the moment. I shall have a few games with them beforehand. The lists will be pre-submitted, so I'll get a few games in with them, and we'll see after End Times come out how that affects the Skaven. They may have a few new cool things that I'll want to try out. But that's basically it for this battle report. If there's anything that you feel that you want to say, if you please like or dislike, comment, I'll get back to you. I'll answer every comment that's put on. And I hope you enjoyed the second battle report. Until next time.